The first pillar for me is always intentionality. The other thing that I've been trying to do for myself more often is to give myself no boundaries. And then the other thing is actually repetition. So, intentionality, obviously, like I want my music to be intentional. Sometimes I will focus on, the same four measures just to get it right, just to make sure it's just right, that I'm being intentional with what I want to say. Giving myself no boundaries, actually, instead of starting off composing with notes, like notes on a page, musical notes, I will do either a brief sketch that is visual, or I will do a kind of like character sketch where I'm writing what I want the piece to be without writing any notes. So then if I kind of get lost somewhere, I'm like, I don't know where this is supposed to go. Instead of having kind of like musical checkpoints that I need to get through, I have like characters and vibes that I'm sort of after. And so I'm not putting myself in this box where I need to be like, well, I need to have, not that anybody writes these anymore, I need to have a perfect authentic cadence here or whatever. But it's like, okay, I've written my whole piece about storm and danger, but I haven't gone to the chance where I need to reach the calm before the storm or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah.
So if I say, okay, I've got all this moody, broody stuff, where do I need to go to next, or what should I be accomplishing? Instead of looking at these kind of musical notes and be like, well, I need to transition to this key or I need to be doing this. I have a general character that I'm after that I can fill in the notes, texture, and timbre about based on the character that I've written about, which has been incredibly helpful to not sort of get stuck on the musical material itself, but to sort of be able to work through the characters, or sometimes it's even like about timbres and textures. I don't want to limit myself to the notes on the page. And then this idea of repetition, I need to be working on a piece like every day or every other day to sort of have this feeling of consistency and to and to hold myself accountable. Like it's a little accountability, but I always want to be checking and rechecking. So even before I start writing, so I say if I finished 3/4 of the piece, okay, it's a new day, I need to write new material. I will go back, I will listen to the whole piece in notation software. If it's applicable, sometimes it's not. But I will go back there and listen to the whole piece in notation software and think, okay, what do I need to fill in? I can get ideas from that as well as this sort of like brief character sketch for where I'm going next. So those are the things that are most important for me in my practice in order to make sure that I am being number one intentional and then like authentic, like what I want to say is being said in the way that I want to say it.
Well, first, I want to say that what you're describing with like no boundaries, like kind of your pre-compositional process almost is like that is like huge. It's a huge part of my process as well. Just kind of like starting each piece rather than confronting the blank staff paper, I confront a blank page and just draw really crude timelines of what I want the music to be. And of course, that can change as you get into it. But I'm really interested in this point you're making about intentionality because you mentioned earlier, that kind of occurs with like almost like the implement that you're using to write with, like a pen versus a pencil, and you kind of dug more into what it means process wise. Do you feel like there's in your music, do you feel like there's an aesthetic component to intentionality? And I ask that because I'm trying to imagine what that might be like. Maybe the answer is no.
I don't think that there is. I don't take this comment to heart, but I was at a festival talking with people talking about music, and somebody was like, "Yeah, I don't really sense like a compositional voice, like something that sticks out that says to me that it's like this is kind of like Daijana's music every single time." And I like it that way. Like I don't approach every single piece and I have a set of tools that I like to use and like this is what my music sounds like because I want it to, I like to use this gesture or this thing specifically. I want to be true to what I'm trying to say. Whether that means something comes across as me sonically or not, I mean that's left up to the listener. Like that's up to you. I personally don't care if you hear one of my pieces and go, "Oh yeah, that's Diana." I want you to hear my piece and go, oh yeah, that's whimsical, or yeah, that's very thoughtful, or wow, I could really hear what you're trying to explain in the program notes. Like, that is more of what I care about, as opposed to, are the sounds that are made consistent with this idea of voice, right? I want everything to be different, because that's my intention when going with the piece, like the piece by Will Yeager, or that Will Yeager performed. Like, I probably won't ever write a piece like that sounds like that ever again, because my intentions for that piece were to, have Will have no boundaries, or to place like a loose set of boundaries. And every other piece that I have before and after that have been composed with different motivations and different ideas that I have. I'll never be able to write another piece like Shades, because I
Yeah.
never just have, 5 to 6 hours to just hang out and play on the cello. And that's just the conditions that the piece was written with. But the intentionality with every piece, it's like, what are my intentions? What am I trying to write? What am I trying to say at this moment in time? I don't worry about any of the other pieces that I've written. Whenever I write a new piece, like, okay, I'm writing a piece for mixed ensemble. Who else is writing mixed ensemble pieces? Let me do a Google search, or your search on YouTube of what people are doing. So I never reference back the same set of pieces from before, and going forward when I write new things, I'm like, okay, what is this person writing for trumpets, or what is this person writing for orchestra?
Thank you so much for tuning in to Micromaker by Loose Leaf Transmissions. We hope you enjoyed this brief glimpse into the inner workings of the creative life. If this resonated with you, be sure to check out the full conversation on Music Maker with Tyler Kline, a podcast exploring craft and process, philosophy and inspiration, and the honest, often messy parts of being an artist, creative uncertainty, purpose and identity, and resilience. You can find Music Maker wherever you get your podcasts, or by visiting musicmakerpodcast.com.